Right, so this director's commentary for This Walking Life, and at the moment you should be seeing some tricky camera work. That's all my own. For the purposes of this channel and its branding, I am the bloke who walks, with a face mask because we're in COVID-19, and thanks to the stage 4 restrictions in Melbourne, Australia, I can only walk any direction from my home for 5 kilometres. So this first video, for all intents and purposes, is a test video, and I just wanted to test out the idea that I've got for this channel. And one of the ideas that I came up with was, well, I'm going to sit down and self-critique this video, so why not record myself self-critiquing it and call it a director's commentary? Because I've watched a lot of YouTube content, since this lockdown started in the first week of August, last weekend of July, and I can tell you, it just never fails to amaze me what ends up on YouTube that people put their time and effort into. But that said, there's a lot of people I know, in fact, making an industry and a living out of YouTube. There's a lot of people just recording their life and their lifestyles. There's a lot of people wandering around with cameras, photographing anything that moves and anything that doesn't move. And I figured something hit me the other week that this COVID thing isn't going to end anytime soon, and I don't feel like pumping out resumes into a depression era like job market. And summer usually is pretty quiet in a good economy, so why not put some positive, productive energy into doing what I do know how to do by myself. I don't need a cameraman, I don't need an editor, I don't even need a script. I've just got this dodgy little point and shoot. I know how to point it, I know how to shoot it, and I know how to record, and it comes up with surprisingly good, adequate video content. For what it is, the audio works alright. And watching one of these YouTube videos that found its way into my algorithm hungry feed on YouTube was the phrase low cost startup, and that kind of appeals and makes sense. And it's really hard to connect with people at the moment. It's really hard to keep in touch with people. It's just we're all absorbed in obeying the rules and surviving, if that's your inclination. Obeying the rules, I mean, not surviving. So I thought, why not have a crack? And that's what this video is. Now I'm just going to pause here and see how this sounds. Okay, that sounds alright so far, so I'm just going to test out a different audio input here. I'm recording audio straight into my laptop, and I know there's a lot of people that are pretty picky about video quality, footage quality, audio quality, and I've got bad news for you. I'm not one of them. I'm all about creating content, and so long as it's entertaining and educational, informative, and it meets my standards, I'm not too worried about other people, because I've seen the quality of a lot of content shot with iPhones, edited with I don't know what, and that's not to put down anybody else's efforts, but my outlook at the moment is create the content, publish it, get it out there, and get things up and running, and we'll tweak it along the way. I'm happy with the the content that I've got. So we'll see. Okay, so we're back. Alright, so I'm not going to spend all morning or all day finessing over this too much. I haven't even, the professional in me and the nerd in me says that I should have notes. I should have some kind of a rundown sheet all the topics that I'm going to cover so that it makes sense to the listener. But come on, this is YouTube, and this is a startup. This is a startup business in the tech sector. So we're going to wing it, because one of the challenges I've set myself with this channel is to throw off some shackles. I tend to over-prepare, over-document, over-analyse, plan. Just shake free, just set loose a few habits and put them behind you to the side and just get on with it, because I think in this environment, this COVID environment, you just got to get things done somehow. Just do something. We've been in lockdown. It's what is it? Today's the 5th of October. Nearly 2 months. We've been confined to our 5 kilometre zones. Not allowed to have visitors. So yeah, it's just about getting it done. So basically, I've just had this idea, bit of clarity, and realised that I can create all this stuff by myself, and there's a platform for it, there's traffic for it. Might as well just have a go and get it up there. So what's this channel about? It's basically about showcasing Melbourne, and I'm having a cup of tea while I'm drinking this.
Okay.
So excuse the slurping, but I'm going to be comfortable. It's about showcasing Melbourne, my hometown. I wouldn't live anywhere else in Australia, and I wouldn't live anywhere else in Melbourne but the eastern suburbs, for the space, the trees. I've lived in this area, been a property owner in this area for 30 years this December. Last month it was 30 years since I found my little place, and I just love where I live. I love walking. I don't have a car. I haven't had a car since 2008. I'm going to leave the birds flying around. I've got an indoor aviary. I'm going to leave the birds because I want people to have I want to wind you all up. I want the viewers to have something to complain about or give me feedback about, good or bad. So that's the canary. I let him out pretty much all the time now. Anyway, so this channel isn't about walking aimlessly around, because what I realised was there's a bit of a market on YouTube for, I suddenly came across a whole lot of videos of people walking around and walking around tourist places, walking around the streets of Melbourne, walking around the streets of London, New York, driving, people making really high quality content driving around New York and Vancouver, and it just struck me, walking around Melbourne. Now Melbourne, it's not about walking around places and doing travel and doing lifestyle and lots of copious videos about food and coffee. And no, this channel is going to be about immersing you in Melbourne and people watching people in Melbourne, because the great thing about Melbourne is we are up to our neck in culture and arts and sport and live events. And this city, if you've ever visited for any amount of time or lived here, you'll know that throughout our calendar, every year, except during COVID, it just rolls from one thing to the next. you've got the tennis in January, you've got the Formula One, you've got the Australian rules football, you've got, which just takes the town by the scruff of the neck, and people just live and breathe it until September. And during the year, there's other things going on, and there's events, and we've got White Night now, where people walk around during the middle of the night looking at expensive lighting played onto the outside of buildings. And then we roll into horse racing season, and then cricket season. And then all of a sudden it's Christmas. And living in Melbourne, it literally does feel like Christmas. Like, you can never get bored. If you live in Melbourne, or you visit, you come here for holidays and you get bored, well, there's something wrong with you, because there's always something to do, always something to see. And it occurred to me, coming across these walking YouTube channels, driving around places, that there must be a market for it, because people are attracting millions of views, thousands of subscribers. And I thought, well, hang on, why not me? And I am going to get rid of this canary, I've decided. Right, that'll keep him going. Hang on. Right, so that's the birds. I've got a canary, I've got 3 Java finches, 1 male zebra finch, and a German roller cock. Anyway, so it occurred to me that after watching a walking video that somebody made in 4K, walking down Swanston Street from RMIT down to the Burke Street Mall, that if people are spending time making that content, and other people are spending time watching that content, and it's just somebody walking down the street, well, surely I can make some video content that we think, our city thinks that we can have some cricket at the MCG this summer, and we can have the Australian Open again with crowds in January. Well, why can't I walk around? Why can't I walk around with a camera, with a ground pass at the Australian Open, just film, and just walk around and film? Would that not be good content for YouTube? If I went to the Boxing Day test and fronted up and just filmed myself travelling from my home in Blackburn in the eastern suburbs to the MCG, and just even live stream that whole experience. And it really got me thinking. I thought, well, people will watch that, because I've never seen that sort of content on YouTube. So maybe that's my niche, walking around Melbourne, Australia, and not just walking around aimlessly. Filming trains, which I've done before for a different reason, and we'll find out what that was later on. But that seemed to me to be a pretty good niche to sink my teeth into. So that's how the channel came about. I think that's a worthwhile pursuit, an investment of time, because I'm not getting any younger. You've got to pick your time wisely. So the second thing about this channel is, well, why am I just going to film and not talk or interview people, or why is it just going to be visual? Well, I figured that's another trait that can be a competitive advantage about this channel. There's plenty of opinions on plenty of channels, so why not go the opposite way with this one, just to be different? It's just one channel. I've got some plans for others, but I figured, well, there's already a trope of channels about walking and driving, and I've watched them to see, do they end up talking? No. And I figured, okay, so people actually do make those, and they do, and then there's other people watching it, right? So I know that there's a segment for this sort of stuff. So why can't I join that segment but differentiate myself, within that? So that's the thinking. What I've noticed about a lot of successful YouTube channels is that the most successful people, and this is just I haven't researched or drilled down into, but it's just the things that I've noticed that have caught my eyes is YouTubers tend to be introverts. They tend to love expressing themselves to the camera, talking to the camera. They're opinionated, or it's their personality really comes out, really shines through. I think the personality of this channel will be Melbourne, will be the character of the city, and secondary to that, sub-trait will be the style of the filming, the places, locations, no, the events that I choose to go to, the idea of less is more. So go back to the Boxing Day test. Will I spend the whole day there? No. So I'd film the trip going in to try and capture that, that build-up. Like, there's nothing like going to a Boxing Day test at the MCG. It's different now. It's when I used to go all the time in the 80s and the early 90s, when it was still a sport for the masses, like common man. Whereas now it's such a contrived product, and the overhype and the speakers blaring. Like, there's nothing like going to the MCG in the old stands and just this echo around the ground of people listening to their transistor radios, and the seagulls and the clack of the ball when they're all practicing their fielding before. Now it's just overhyped, over stylized, over presented, and I'm over it. I don't go anymore. But there's something about the adrenaline build up of that day. People are letting their hair down, the weather's brilliant, the crowds, just everybody's had a stressful finish to the year at work, and then there's been a stress of getting together with the family for Christmas, and then you can go to the MCG and you can just let it all hang out and watch the cricket and let other idiots run around in the sun. So it got me thinking that 2 to 4 hours of content at those events, and there's the Grand Prix and the footy, and you put some decent audio over the top, that if I can create decent visual audio to license out to people who really have real opinions and commerciality about wanting to expand their products into the YouTube space. And then there's all the lifestyle features about Melbourne. So there's our tourism sector is decimated. Our tertiary sector, international student sector, is decimated. Our borders are still closed. Borders are still closed to each other between states. So it occurred to me that, never mind YouTube traffic, maybe there's an opportunity to create a product that can become a service, some sort of subscription model or licensing model that I can present to the commercial world. And and all I have to do is just rely on my own sense of motivation and get up and go, which I've had for a long time. I've just never worked out how to monetize it. And being the age that I am, in my early 50s, I don't see much merit in pursuing the job market. Or going back to university. So that's how this channel came about. Is that it's going to marry up some skills and capabilities and experience and know-how with what is possible. And I think this is possible. So where are we? We're now 20 minutes in, and it's taken me 20 minutes to explain to you what this channel is about. But I'm not too bothered, because this is ostensibly the startup phase, the R&D phase, it's just about creating the content. So I'm just enjoying the fact that I can voice these thoughts. So what's the next thing I can chat about? Well, I suppose a worthwhile thing to chat about next is the area. Why did I choose to film this area as a test case? Well, like I said, we're still in hard lockdown here in Melbourne, in Australia. We're not allowed to go more than 5 kilometres from our place of residence. So it seemed to me, why not just walk for 5k's and get the train back home? I have filmed around here before, 4 years ago, but that's going to be a different channel. I've got just getting back on the rationale, like how this. So I was trying to think of what am I going to call this channel, because I noticed when I did do some research into channels that had walking video content, and walking around seemed to be a common theme of the topic, the title, and the channel name. And keywords are pretty crucial and critical, so I thought, well, I've got to hook into that. So I just basically brainstormed a whole lot of names. So how many have I got? 2, 4, 6. So I got about 15. So I had walking to explore, and I've got to out myself here. I'll pump myself up. I've got a knack for branding. I've got a real good knack for branding, even though it's not my profession. But walking to explore, walk with me, walk in my steps, walk in my shoes, walking to discover. Oh yeah, the other key, well, the keywords you've seen in the video description: walk, explore, experience, walking experience, walk like a local, walking, let's go, the walking life. Is the walking life, the walker life. And I came up with the walking life, and then I thought, hang on a second. And then I remembered that Richard Harris movie from the 1950s, the one the kitchen sink drama that propelled him to stardom, or the starting line anyway, This Sporting Life. So that's how I came up with the title, This Walking Life. And it's a good it's a good little it's a good name, because what I realised is that I can use this life as a generator for other topics. So and then once I really thought about it and it percolated for a bit and I digested the possibilities, then I realised that the 40 to 50 hours of video content that I've got from 4 years ago that I've never done anything with because I'm not quite sure how to market it or get it out there. That is, to all intents and purposes, a web series. And then I realised that these 40 hours of video content that I've got in my back pocket can go up as 10-minute vlog content. So there's going to be a second channel pop up extremely soon once I just work out the dynamics of production and keeping things organised from an administrative level. It'll be called This Public Transport Life, and I'm excited about that because I've had this content for years and I've been terrified that my laptop's going to have a heart attack or the hard drive will suddenly disintegrate. I've got to publish this content because I put a lot of work into it 4 years ago, but more on that another time. So here I am, camera in hand. It's early morning, Thursday, I think it was the 4th of October. This is peak hour on a Thursday morning. So the reason there's so many trains is because it's peak hour. It's about maybe 20 to 8, quarter to 8 in the morning. It's a really nice spring day in Melbourne. You can see the weather. And this bike path usually is this quiet. We'll talk more about the crowds when we get into Box Hill where that tower is in front. But yeah, I just sort of picked up the camera and thought, well, I'm going to go shopping. No, I picked up the camera, I picked up the shopping bag to give the impression that I was going shopping because you're not allowed to go for exercise for more than 2 hours, and I wasn't quite sure. I've walked from a lot of places to Blackburn, but I've never really walked the entire length Blackburn to Surrey Hills. It takes 8 minutes, stopping all stations on the train. So I figured we'll just, and I didn't know how long the battery would last, so that's another story. So anyway, we'll talk about the location. So because of the COVID lockdown, I can't get into the city, and I love Melbourne. I love walking around the CBD, around the parks. I love walking everywhere and anywhere in Melbourne. Melbourne's just got its own personality. I've walked so many of its streets so many times, so often, and I know it backwards. I know it forwards, sideways. I know it during the day. I know it at night. I know it in the middle of the night. And nothing about Melbourne at night bothers me like it does other people. I'll catch public transport anywhere at any time of day or night. So I can't get into the city, so I hadn't seen any walking videos of suburbs in Melbourne or suburbs anywhere. I only spent about 3/4 of a day doing, what you call true research and doing up my famous little template documents, well, famous for me anyway. So, and I thought, well, I'll just say here, in experimenting with the film editing software that I've used, I was trying out footage stabilization, and this particular clip, I didn't realise that I'd left it on, and it's the only clip within this whole video that has the stabilisation. And because I haven't mastered it yet, so you'll see when the train comes, you'll see it gets really interesting, as if we've all taken LSD, or what I imagine what looking at a train having taken LSD would look like. Here it goes. Oh dear. So and that's for the next 10 minutes. Those effects will be on. So I wasn't too worried when I saw what had happened, because it gives it a different look and feel, doesn't it? So nothing wrong with that. Just mixes it up a bit. If you're still watching, or maybe you've just tuned in. Well, maybe you're just listening to the audio and you don't give a stuff about the video.
No, I'm on Job Seeker, so this is one way to.
So that's the Belgrave Lilydale line heading east to my part of town, Blackburn, and then turning around the other way to the west is Box Hill, the next immediate station, and then beyond that is a just on 20-minute train ride to the CBD of Melbourne. So I couldn't get to Melbourne, so I figured, well, there's not really that much harm. Like, I'm not too precious. Like, this channel isn't going to be about bells and whistles and you know, walking past bars or walking into bars or yes, there's going to be crowds later on. They'll come. There'll be crowds at the footy, crowds at the races, crowds at Melbourne Cup. Hopefully Melbourne Cup, they'll let people in this year. That'll be my niche, and an excuse to go to these things. I don't really go to these things anymore. It's more something, you know, like a rite of passage. But once you've been once or twice, the same as anywhere else. But yeah, to go back and film those things, that'll be the hallmark of this particular channel. Mixed in with yeah, just different little trips around the place. So I figured, especially for testing out, why not walk from Blackburn to Surrey Hills? Because let's face it, who does that? We're also car orientated and instant gratification demands for our lifestyles. But COVID's really slowed us down, hasn't it? It's really taught us to take a deep breath and be careful. But this is peak hour. This is just before 8 o'clock in the morning, and those trains that just went past, they're pretty empty, really, save for construction workers, tradies, sleeping. That's all they do on their train trip to work, is sleep with their hoodies over their eyes. Now, so this is the other advantage of, you know, not being too tied to a certain idea. That it wasn't my intention to walk up this lane, but I approached it. I was going to take the street to the left, and then I just naturally stayed in the laneway after I came out of this car park, because, well, like, why not? And you've got the new Golden Age Tower there as a backdrop, towering over everything, and that's another reason, is these videos can be a document of change. And yes, there's Google Maps, and anyone can sit on their laptop and check out the areas, but Google cars and Google cameras won't be going where I'm going, and they won't be filming in the way that I'm filming. And this is the other thing that I noticed about YouTube, and maybe, you know, why I never seriously considered is, you know, besides opinion and personality, there's also the filming style. Now, I'm not technically minded, I am not a camera man per se, but like I have a certain way of filming with this little handheld digital camera, which is all of my own. I'm not really too concerned about the latest camera or technology or setup. I like this camera. It works, it records audio. It's limited. I like working with the limitations it forces on me, namely in terms of, you know, battery life and SD cards. But I make it work, and having taught myself how to edit content, even the editing of the content is a form of self-expression. And I've noticed that in other YouTube channels, people, no matter what age they are or nationality, and I've got two people in mind right this very second as I'm saying this out loud, that their personality does come out in the way they film and the way they edit their videos with the subtitles or just plain title cards, little sound effects. So you mix all that together, and I sort of think, well, I've also got a certain style for creating this video content. Even just here with this camera movement, just crouching down with my hand, a couple of centimeters above the ground, like, why not? Basically, why not just mix it up? Because as a viewing experience and a customer experience goes, yes, it's nice, it's great to watch well shot, expensive looking 4K videos on YouTube, but when the camera's just set in one position in a car or on someone's handheld gimbal, well, does it give you the opportunity to shoot like this? And does driving around in a car give you these, back alley views of these monstrous glass towers that have sprung up, not just in Box Hill, but all around Melbourne? And I'm having so much trouble getting used to the sight of these towers in my city. That Melbourne, I look at this tower, and this is not Melbourne. This is not the way we live in Melbourne. This is another country's culture, another lifestyle of people who like living in tall glass towers. And I don't, but I can tell you I'm not a person who's going to end up living in a house with 3 bedrooms and a backyard that I have to mow every week either, on account of the fact that I'm not married, no kids, I don't need that. But look at those pigeons. This is the sort of random thing I want to capture, and then once the people come back, and remember, we're still in peak hour on a Thursday morning, a normal working week in Melbourne, not school holidays, thank you very much. There's just no one around now. So I'm gonna, so we're on the topic of the personality of the channel and the filming style, and this will come into play just in this next brief bit, which ended up becoming the thumbnail for this video. Here we are at Box Hill. So Box Hill Station is, and did you pick the edit there from, because the SD card I've upgraded to a bigger storage, but unfortunately, or fortunately, or just the way the camera is, this digital camera is, it can only record for 10 minutes at a time. So that's where you'll notice some edits or some shots where I'm sort of resting on a particular thing in front of me. I'm waiting for the card to run down. So Box Hill Station is behind the Golden Age Tower there, which is only like 2 years old. It just went up so quick. It just went up so quick. It's the biggest tower in the area, and what I love about this camera is in certain lighting situations with the sun, it picks up this flare off reflections of the sun, and I just love it. I just love it. I love the effect, and because I don't do anything to achieve that, it just happens. And when I saw this is the first time I've sort of been down Station Street opposite this tower now that's completed, and I don't mind glass as a facade for towers, but Jesus Christ, it's going to get so hot it's going to get so hot during summer when we get our 35, 40 degree summer days, and the sun washing off these reflections. It's going to be so hot. It's going to be so hot, because look, where's all the trees? They haven't planted any trees anyway, so they haven't got any shops. So just 4 years ago, I did a morning around here in my in character for the mockumentary I was filming, which will come up on another. It'll be This Public Transport Life, and they had the display suite on this exact corner, and the sky was the limit for those guys. Nobody saw COVID coming, that's for sure. So. So that brings me back to the idea that I've got for commercial opportunities. Like, if I can go to these real estate guys and say, look, have you got any video footage of the golden age that, you know, is showing off your properties that you want to license the content. Now, I don't suggest that this particular piece of video footage is suitable for the high market, the high end of the real estate market in Box Hill. No, what I'd do is I'd say, well, look, here's some spec footage, but if you have a budget for a professional cameraman and sound guy and editing, like, I'll pull it all together for you. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So this is Station Street, just up there. That's the bus terminal. And it's the worst designed public transport interchange you can imagine. You've got the buses on top. People have to make their way down from the bus terminal. There's all these buses herring. Like, there's bus stops all around that top space. And they have to go down through the shopping centre and then down another level to the train platform. The train goes underneath. Now, when I was a kid, this was a street full of buses and cars, and Market Street at the end there, we'll come up to it later, that was also full of buses. I used to get off and do my Christmas shopping in December. This was in the early 80s. And now, so normally this mall in Box Hill is teeming with people going about their business in and out of the banks, and these banks are incredibly busy. But again, here we are on a Thursday morning. It's now about 8 or 8:15. There is no one to be found. There is no one. Oh, and don't forget the school kids. Don't forget the school kids. Like, it's been like this since January 2020. When COVID first started appearing in Wuhan in China, and Box Hill was one of the first places in Australia to feel the effects, because this area is, and you've seen it on all the buildings, the signage and the branding, heavily populated with Chinese. And there's also Koreans. There's a lot of Korean restaurants and Korean groceries around here. That's a Korean chicken fast food outlet. You should have seen the lines around the block. Did you see all the signage is in Chinese? And for the Neen chicken, there was so many people lined up when it first opened. And so this is just having a bit of fun with the way composing the shot, making sure that the viewer knows that we've got the Box Hill Station, having some fun with the sound effects. I don't want it to be too cheesy, but it's like, what's in my head is, as a content creator, is the viewer is sticking around this far, and how far are we into this now? We're 45 minutes into this video, and if they've stuck around this long, like, I want to mix it up and make it a little bit of, just trying to inject a bit of fun into, even though I'm not talking as I'm filming, just inject a bit of fun. And you can see that like I could have walked straight down Whitehorse Road, the triple lane in both directions highway, boring. So, you know, I deliberately chose to go down the bike path to Box Hill, deliberately chose to go up the laneway. I've deliberately chose to weave around a bit and just make it a bit interesting. Like, where's he going to go next? Like, you can't follow the route that I'm going, you can't follow it on Google Maps, like, at all, now that I'm especially in the shopping centre. So that's the idea, just make it a bit different. And this is also, you know, my local knowledge coming into play, because I grew up in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, just down the road a bit closer to the city, in Balwyn. I might as well name a suburb. And this is my stamping ground. I've been coming here since I was a kid, in different shapes and forms and reasons and excursions and shopping trips and, you know, driving through to go to work. So, you know, I know this area so well, like, why not mix up the itinerary a bit? So there you go, we've covered the reason for the channel, how it came about, the branding, the filming style. We've covered the few things there. So, like I said, I haven't written down a list of points or topics that I want to cover. So if it sounds like I'm talking off the top of my head, that's exactly what I want, because I just want to get this stuff up and running. And then I realised, while I was doing this walk, I realised, well, if I'm walking from Blackburn to Surrey Hills and I'm going to, like, literally walk past each station, like, I can repurpose that content. So something that I learnt when I was researching freelance writing about 18 years ago was, there was a bloke who used to write for a film website and magazine. I think he's retired, I can't remember. But one thing he said stuck with me, not directly to me, but one of his comments about freelance writing or writing was, you know, create something once and sell it many times. And that's just common sense to a lot of YouTubers, I hope. So this video is what, it's an hour and 20 minutes long. So I'm going to cut it up into 4 more videos: Blackburn to Laburnum, Blackburn to Box Hill, Blackburn to Mont Albert, Blackburn to Surrey Hills. So out of one video, I'll get 5, which will allow me to, I don't know how often I'm going to post videos yet. That's the other thing. Do I want to post something every day? Not really. But do I want to create content that I can upload and schedule it to publish every day? Yeah, for sure. For sure I can do that. Yeah. And so, alright, so on the subject of, well, how am I going to go about creating this content? Well, like, I've had a lot of experience teaching myself how to edit videos and publish them. And I'm happy with my skill level. And having watched a lot of other YouTube content creators, especially studying them and enjoying some, you know, most content. And I'm in the habit of watching some channels now. And that's just to make sure you know you're still in Box Hill. Well, it occurred, like, it is a time-consuming process to create a video. If you're going to do it properly, like, I want to have proper titles, proper music. I want to have rights-free music. I want to own all the content. I don't want to have any issues around copyright. I don't want to have any issues around filming permits, or I just want to point the camera, film, edit it, publish it. That's basically where I'm at. But it does take a bloody long time to edit a video. So the other reason I've chosen this niche is, like, if it's just a walking video, well, there's really nothing to edit except just put in titles and end credits, and make sure people are there's a call to action to subscribe or go to, if I want them to go to my website or a Facebook page. And I'm not going to be cross-promoting and cross-pollinating a lot of content across the different social media platforms. And I'll tell you why. I've got a confession to make is I hate social media. I hate it. I don't have a smartphone. I don't want a smartphone. I want to live a analog life, a retro life. I want to do as little as possible on social media. If I could kill Facebook, the Facebook page I've got is purely to promote the film brand that I've got. The YouTube is just a means to an ends, but I won't be cross promoting across. I don't even read Twitter, let alone use it. Instagram, I've got a very rudimentary awareness of, let alone understanding. I've got so much digital assets in terms of photos that should be on Instagram, but I just can't be bothered. This is another. There's a lot of land banking in Melbourne. People just buying property, destroying what's on there, and they're not building on it. And that's the reason why we've got a housing shortage, is thanks to all these people that just bank the land. And I've met them, and they say, I bought a property, I'm a property investor, I just demolished the house and just put a fence up. And that's not investing or contributing to our economy, I'm sorry. So that's the other attraction of creating this walking video content is I'm not going to spend any time doing any fancy edits with this particular content, this channel. This life is literally going to have a personality of, well, this is life for 1 or 2 hours tops of any particular shoot. And just capturing life, like a slice of life, walking video. And what happens in that 2 hours, like I'm not going to go out specifically looking for or conjuring or contriving situations. Like what happens in front of me or doesn't is the content, which is why I keep sweeping the camera back to the train line, because there was some opportunistic moments which were worth taking advantage of, and you'll see that once we get out past Mont Albert. So we're just on the other side of Box Hill Central. It's a fair old walk. It's a fair old walk, and we're about halfway. We're about halfway from our starting point towards our end point. So the editing, the publishing, I just want to be able to create the content and publish it, and then let the YouTube algorithms and just everything happen naturally and organically. I'm not going to invest time chasing traffic, building a community. Like essentially this is just going to be content for viewing first and foremost, but with its own little personality in the way that it's shot, and the different places, live events that I've got in mind, and even the boring things like how to ride a train, riding trains around Melbourne. I mean, that's pretty pathetic for a bloke in his mid-50s to be thinking of doing. But, I come back to all the other YouTube channels that I've been looking at, and people are watching them in their thousands, so I figure, well, why not me? And then the fact that this will be very child-friendly content, well, I can push that out to schools and universities. I can push it overseas. I've got experience in the international student, tertiary sector, marketing to international students. I know what innocent content, very clean content. Clean, I mean, in terms of like, a very, very audience-friendly, parent-friendly content has its place in international student marketing, and we push it out on a commercial basis. So I want to put all my time and effort into building up a product to push out on a commercial basis, and then in the background I want the YouTube, the platform, to take care of the content and get it in front of people, which I've got an understanding of how it works. I don't expect it to, I'm not gonna wake up every day, looking at views and subscribers and analytics. It just does my head in, that sort of stuff. I've been through that with other creative projects, and no, what I'll be putting time and effort into is creating, pitch documents and commercial segments, and going that way, using those skills I've picked up in my working life, and having another go at that. So we're on the other side of Elgar Road. I really like this road. I never drove down it when I had a car. Well, there was no reason to. It was quite out of the way. It's off the main drag, but gee, it's a awesome avenue to walk down on a day like this. And you probably would enjoy it more if the camera wasn't shaking so much, which brings me to my other point about this video content. Is I realise that YouTube viewers can be really picky. Now here's an edit coming up, because it was at this point the battery ran out. So that video cut, that edit cut, this is the next day, Friday, at about the same time, and I'm just the battery ran out just beyond this next road, which is about just coming up now. There it is. The battery ran out just after I passed this. So there's two. So now we can talk about filming technique and style. So I was just saying that some, well, maybe many people expect a lot in terms of quality, of video quality and audio quality. So a shaking camera isn't going to endear me to a lot of people. So that's why I'm calling this a test video, because I just wanted to see how it came out. I didn't want to, naturally I'm feeling self-conscious. I'm walking through the streets of COVID Melbourne with a camera. I didn't want to draw attention to myself by holding it in a way that drew attention to myself. I just wanted to test out the filming style. I wanted to find out what it would look like. Yeah, in certain points it's pretty shaky. I was holding the camera just naturally with my arm by my side, trying to be as still as I could. But the faster I walked, the more shaky it was. I was trying out angling up, because it was below my hips. I was trying out angling the camera upwards, which in some parts you'll see there's just too much sky. But it's all about me just testing out, what I can do with a handheld digital camera. Now I've used this camera, as I said, 4 years ago I filmed, and but a lot of the footage excuse me, is very still and not shaky, because what I was doing was I'd plant myself in a certain location and I'd just point and shoot. Literally I wouldn't move, and any moving that I did do would be both hands, and to be honest, I've actually forgotten a lot of my my camera holding techniques, so they'll come back quickly, and my self-consciousness will disappear pretty quick, I imagine. But you can see, like, this is still peak hour. This is Friday on a peak hour, spring in Melbourne, and there's just no one around. There's no cars, no parents cutting through back streets trying to take a shortcut to get their kids to school quicker. There's very few people walking around, cycling. Now, just to comment on that, I didn't really notice the first lockdown we had, which was a stage 3. Didn't really affect me too much. I was doing a lot of stuff, family-related stuff, which kept me so busy it felt like I wasn't part of the pandemic. But this second lockdown has really affected me a lot. In that, the first lockdown, like, you could really notice a lot of people out and about, walking around in groups. It was like being in a zombie movie. You just see all these people in groups of 2s and 3s and 4s, you know, walking around because they couldn't go to work, or they were working from home, or the kids couldn't go to school. And it's just so many groups of people walking around my local area in Blackburn. But now it's just so different. Like, I think this harder lockdown for us is, I think it's really knocked people for a 6. I think the psychological scars, not just Melbourne, like all over the world, it's just going to be such an effect on culture in different countries, the way people interact with each other, people's just general levels of, you know, mental and emotional energy. Like, I don't mind admitting myself, like, I know I'm pretty brittle, and you don't really realise it until you react to something in a way that you wouldn't in a normal situation. Anyway, so I love this street. I found it, I walked it for the first time, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, and you know, it's just one of those things that you grow up in a place, and there's still things about Melbourne that I'm discovering all the time. I've never walked or been. That tennis court is flush against the train tracks, but you never see anyone playing tennis. Funnily enough. And trust me, I travel this train line all the time. I'm always on this train line, on the train, and I've never ever, morning or night, daytime, weekends, I've never seen people hit a tennis ball in anger on those tennis courts. So we're getting close to Mont Albert Station now. So yeah, I suppose I don't really have any plans to upgrade the camera, because it works, and I know it works. And I bought it maybe 2015, maybe 2014, maybe even earlier, and it was on sale. It was only it was either $25 or $35, and it was marked down. And I just wanted a camera because I didn't have one at the time. I didn't even have a reason to have a camera, but yeah, as luck would have it, I found that it recorded video, and the colours really pop off the screen for me. I don't know how it sits for you. And the audio is a reasonable quality. Like, it's just got an inbuilt microphone, and yeah, what you hear is just completely unadulterated, pure sound recorded in the moment. And it suits me, this camera, because it's, you know, just pick up and go, point and shoot, pick up and go, easy to download the files, easy to edit them, manipulate them, store them. As for the audio, well, yeah, I don't really want to invest in anything. I don't want to spend money, and I certainly, you can see that I'm, you know, because I'm on foot, I don't want to be carrying around a lot of stuff, and I've done that. The most I ever want to carry around is my laptop, and I've done that, and I've carried it around while filming, and it's great exercise, but it's not something you want to do on a day of 40 degrees in Melbourne. And that's the only drawback to this filming style, is being exposed to the sun, because I've got very fair skin and a family history of, well, not skin cancer, but skin cancers being cut off, not life-threatening skin cancers, and that will happen to me soon, because I've been exposed to the sun more these last 10-15 years by not having a car. And I stupidly don't wear a hat, and I don't put on sunscreen. Anyway, so now we're coming up to Mont Albert Station. Again, this area I grew up in it. I have family living here. The shops, it's a very rudimentary back streets type of shopping centre, but it's incredibly busy. As a rule, but as you'll see as we walk on, it is dead. And I think it's just another example of how much this second lockdown for us has just knocked the stuffing out of us psychologically. It's such a nice day to be out, and not many people are. So for the video, the quality of this channel, the video content, I have already acknowledged to myself that by sticking to my preferred way of filming audio and video, and I could be shooting myself in the foot, that people are going to switch off in the first couple of minutes. But as I've experienced myself with other YouTube channels, is that you can get hooked, and you can change your mind, and it's just a matter of learning a style. It's like, I remember, you can think of any TV show or film. I remember the first time I saw The Wire. It took a while to get into, and then I was addicted. I've just finished watching 4 to 5 seasons on SBS on demand of a French espionage series. Now, just before I go on, that edit, so that's where I do need to have pretty high standards for editing, because I didn't vet the editing file very closely. A little clip escaped my attention and ended up in the wrong spot. Until I published it on YouTube, I didn't see it. But those kind of things I'm not going to get too hung up about, because there's plenty of other things to get wound up about, and that's not one of them. But I've just finished watching this show on SBS on demand, and it was an awesome show to watch. But it took a little while to get into it. I mean, I had a vested interest, because the lead actor I'm absolutely in love with as a someone I would love to be what this guy's achieved in his own country and internationally. It was called The Bureau, if you want to have a look, and it was so compelling. It was so well made, and I actually miss watching it, because it was so well made that nothing I've found since in the last couple of months has come up against it. But I just figure that there's got to be an audience for this content, and if I can't find it, well, it could well boil down to just how the algorithms drive traffic to or from, or away from, or towards this content. I don't know. I'm not betting the house on being a success, because the only failure for me would be not to try. And I'm very good at trying things, and the saying goes that success has many failures. So I'm about due for something to succeed, because I've tried a lot of different things over the last 15 years, and COVID for me has been a kind of a gift, in that it's just brought the world down to my level, which sounds awful to say it out loud like that, but the pressure's off. Anyway, so that's maybe that's a topic for another day. But so here's what I was talking about. Opportunistic things happening within the window of filming. So, you know, when I set out to film from Blackburn, walking, I didn't plan to get to Mont Albert exactly at this time for the train to go past. That's just happenstance. That's I wouldn't even call it luck. I wouldn't even call it being in the right place at the right time. But when I realised that train was pulling in and was approaching, well, it just made sense to bloody film it the way I did, because I knew how to film it the way I wanted to, and I was tempted to turn around and film the dog and its owner a bit more. And then it just occurred to me to just do this, just like, I'm just going to do this. No, first I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. Now, why did I do that? I don't know. I don't know. But I was going to do this for the AC/DC fans. There you go. So, you know, whatever happens in that 2 hour, 90-minute, 2 hour window, because that's all I'm going to do. Even at the Australian Open, the Australian Formula 1 Grand Prix, the footy, maybe just film for 3 hours tops. Because I've seen walking videos and driving videos that go for 3 and 4 hours. I've seen YouTube channels, and there's a lot of them, that specialise just in ambient music, and they go for 8 hours. So surely my little channel, well, it's little now, my content that I'm creating, surely there's a market for the stuff that I'm going to produce, and it's going to be you know, it's got a broad remit. This life walking Melbourne, Australia, walking around Melbourne, Australia. Well, that's a pretty mainstream niche to have a go at. And then, you know, within that niche, there's all the things that come with Melbourne. There's the lifestyle, the places, the sport, the culture, the arts. So, and then the city itself. I love Melbourne so much, and our laneways are world famous. Our sport, our culture, our way of life. So I've got a good feeling. And then there's all the commercial aspects of the content, you know, trying to put it out for licensing to commercial partners, the tertiary sector, tourism sector, the real estate sector. So I feel like this is an idea worthy of my time, investing my time, because ideas are great, but income is better. This channel is the start of a series called This Life. So this walking life, this public transport life, this maybe this sporting life, who knows, this creative life, don't know. But you know, I've seen YouTube channels with people in other Western countries claiming to earn 7 figures a year, and you hear them talk offhandedly about, you know, my team, my business, but you don't see behind the talking head. So do they really earn that sort of money? I don't know. But I can tell you what, that everything about democracy and society and the economy at the moment is broken with a capital B. We know that for sure. So the old rules don't apply anymore. And the rules that I was brought up on, the economic rules, the things that the knowledge that I was exposed to at university by example of those that came before me. So why not have a go at this channel? Because you know, all the ways of making a living a life, right this very second as I'm talking, in October 2020. It's all out the window. And when you've got to, I'm not going to get political, but what I saw on the TV, on the news this morning, last night in America, just makes me sick. It makes me sick. So, you know, why not? Anyway, so there's a fortuitous bus going past, and we've reached the station. It's just ahead of us, behind this new signal depot. The Victorian government has invested in high-speed railway signalling, and they built this. It's just coming up on the right. There it is. And they built this. They finished it about in the last 18 months, and so these are little things that I know about and can commentate on, and I've got knowledge of, you know, that will suit this channel or the other channel I've got planned. So although we're at the station, you know, again, there's no reason just to go straight to the platform and say, right, we're here. Like, why not walk around it? So that's what I did. Basically. Now, it looks like it's a different day, doesn't it? But literally, the card ran down to its 10-minute limit. And literally, that's Melbourne, 4 seasons in one day. Like, literally, the cloud cover came over in that minute and changed the ambience of the scenery in front of the camera. And that's another thing to love about Melbourne. It's always changing. I grew up in Melbourne. I've lived my whole life in Melbourne except for 1 year I had in Sydney, and I couldn't live anywhere else. I could not live in a place that just had clear blue skies every day and sunshine. I couldn't do it. It'd drive me bonkers. Like, my body is used to the weather changing, the seasons changing, and you look forward to it, of course. So, yeah, I just made the decision on the spot, like, why I've walked all the way from Blackburn on 2 different days. Like, why stop? Why just go straight to the platform and stop? I figured, well, why not just walk a little bit around the station just to give a sense of the area, and not literally walk up and down the street and pan the camera around, like, just give a sense, because I'm sure I'll be filming around here again for a different reason, and in fact I just did this morning. The weather took a turn back to winter yesterday, so I was going to film something yesterday. I was going to walk the opposite direction from Blackburn to Mitcham. The weather was just pouring yesterday, so it didn't clear up this morning, but I got up this morning and I caught the train to Surrey Hills and back again, and then walked around Blackburn. It's all about testing the filming technique, and I was a bit worried the footage was far too shaky, and, like, you know, it probably is, let's be honest, it probably is too shaky for, you know, the walking around topic. The viewers that like walking around but they're used to a stable camera, a gimbal, there's not much movement, well, you know, this is early days, so if it gets to that point where I'm going to all this effort to walk around and nobody's watching, well, obviously that's, you know, something I have to change. So I got to this point and figured, well, all right, well, I didn't exactly know where I was going to finish as I was walking up this ramp, but I figured, oh, okay. And then about this point, I realised where I was going to finish. So it's just a brief, you know, lay of the land type endeavour from now on. So I've just realised that I've only got about maybe 3 minutes left to wrap up. So I don't know how all this sits with you, the viewer. but in the best of YouTube tradition, I would ask you to give me some feedback. Give me your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you a Melbourne person? Are you from Australia? Like, I don't know, but were you looking for this type of content? Did it help you pass the time? Did it waste your time? But as they say in the classics, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. Don't leave a comment. I'm looking forward to seeing how these perform, because I know for a fact that there's a niche for this sort of stuff walking around. I know that Melbourne comes up well on camera, and as we all know, I've got lots of time to kill thanks to COVID. And if they let us out of our 5 kilometres, I know exactly where I want to film next. And once the events come back, I know what I want to film. And I know what I want to achieve with this channel. And so they're talking about the Melbourne Cup being run. They're talking about the tennis already next year. They're talking about the Boxing Day test. So that's 3 things that I'm going to be filming at. And in the meantime, there's all the other stuff that I've got an idea that I'd like to go at. So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching doubly if you already watched the other one and now you've watched this commentary and listened to me bang on. But as we head up the ramp, I'm just going to say there's another video coming out soon. It may or may not have a commentary. Thanks for being part of this walking life, and enjoy your YouTube adventures.
It's Waterman. Welcome to Project Melbourne Metro Underground Rail, the site of the new Parkville Station. If you come with me, we'll start right away. Waterman, yes, I'm transport consultant for the government. It's my job to act as a liaison between STM, Asia Pacific and the government of Victoria, and the Transport Minister in particular, to advise on timelines and make sure that everything to do with the contract that's been awarded to this firm, that the timeline's being met. So it's my pleasure to welcome you today as a visitor and investor from interstate and overseas. We'll be taking a short tour of the site, so if you come with me, we'll start right now. That ends our tour for today. We hope you enjoyed this insight into the state government's preparations for how your investment money is being spent here at the site of the proposed new Parkville Station as part of the Melbourne Metro Underground Rail project. My name's Waterman. If you have any more questions, you can contact me by the Victorian State Government Department of Transport, STM Asia Pacific.